We're going to jump right in here with the basics. This is Reference USA. You can see we have these different modules here that you have access to. We're going to, what most members of the Miller Business Center use Reference USA for is to create marketing lists, right? Find potential customers. So we'll do that first. We're gonna find some potential customers. So I'm gonna click on the U.S. Businesses Database, and the first screen that comes up here is our tabs. So we have two tabs here. We have the quick search and we have the advanced search. Now, quick search comes in handy if you want to look up one specific company. Maybe you're driving on Jericho Turnpike and you see a sign coming soon, or you see a new business that's opened up. You want to look them up in the database, see what they're all about. You can come here, type the business. I don't know why, but for some reason I always pick ABC Carpet as a business type. So you pick the company name, you pick the state. Not even going to put a city in here. View results. Is there an ABC Carpet in New York? Yes, there is. Of course, there's ABC Carpet everywhere. So then you get the listing of all the ABC Carpets in New York State. And then you can pick one particular company, click on it, and see their record. Now, this is the screen record. What we're going to show you in a little bit is when we download the records, it's a very different view than what you see here. When we download records, they're downloaded as Microsoft Excel spreadsheets. When we look at the records here, it's a little more interactive, to be frank, because if there are any job listings available, you'll be able to click through here. If you're looking for a job, you can use the Reference USA database. We'll go into that in a little bit. You have the industry profile, and this is really where I use the quick search for, because sometimes I'll have a patron say, you know, I'm looking for companies like so-and-so, you know, company names are they're not always going to be very upfront, like ABC Carpet. Obviously, ABC Carpet does something with carpets, right? Either they clean carpets or they're a carpet company. But sometimes there's companies out there, we want to know how they're classified. So for the classification here, the industry profile, this will let me know right away that ABC Carpet is classified in this, ABC Carpet Cleaning is classified in this database as 7217-04 carpet and rug cleaners. So you're looking for companies like ABC Carpet Cleaning. Again, I picked a you know, a company that that has a very clear name here, but perhaps not. Maybe you got a company called I don't know, you know, Apex United Limited, ABC Incorporated. I just made that up. That was terrible. But you can look them up here in the quick search, and you could see how they're classified. Now, you'll notice here, there's the primary check marks here. When you're searching for businesses and you want to find out the businesses that are primarily, in this case, carpet and rug cleaners, it's very important when you're doing your search, when we go into the next step, to select the primary SIC code. The reason being is that you can see here that ABC Carpet is not only, carpet cleaners not only do carpet and rug cleaning, they also do fire damage restoration. They also are considered residential remodelers with their NAICS code in the database. So when we're searching for companies, we want to be very specific. That brings your list size down, and you'll be at that the proper size list. We're all about quality over quantity, always quality over quantity. So so that's important to select primary SIC code. And then you can scroll down here. Let me expand the map so we can see. Oh, oops, something went wrong. Okay, right, fine. Usually you're going to see a map there. You'll see the business demographics, how many employees are at this location, what the sales volume is, what their square footage is, if it's a home-based business, and their Experian credit rating. In this case, this company has a very good credit rating. And of course, they're going to want to try to sell you on buying from Experian, in this case, we don't have access to those, but you get the idea. You'll be able to see, okay, if they have a very good credit rating, this company, they're going to, you can give them terms. They're going to pay on time. You'll have the manager. Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Roberta is asking what the difference is between SIC and NAICS codes.
That's a good question. So SIC codes are the standard industry classification. It's what the government classifies. They have a system where they classify all businesses, they give it a code. Now, many, many, many years ago, they wanted to make that more, they wanted to refine it. That's probably the best term to use. They wanted to refine that system, so they came up with the North American Industry Classification System. That's the NAICS code. What's funny is that the NAICS code was supposed to replace SIC, and it never did. So now we have both. We have the North American classification and the SIC code. They probably, you know what happens, they probably came up with a, you know, someone said, you know what, we've been using SIC codes for years and years. Why do we want to change it? So rather than replace it, they just added it. So that's the reason why we have SIC codes and North American Industry Classification codes. They both work equally well. So if you have a NAICS code, because someone gave you a NAICS code, definitely use the NAICS code to search. If not, use the SIC code. And in about 5 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can search without having to know those codes at all. Now here at this is an old joke, everyone. Here at the Miller Center, we know all the SIC codes by heart, all million of them. No, just kidding. Yeah, so we'll be able to do a keyword search and check that out. So good question. Funny answer, hopefully, that's the way it ended up. They never decided to replace it. Also here on this record, you're going to see business expenditures. Now, this is based on a metric. This is based on an algorithm that ReferenceUSA has created to show you what a business's expenditures would be in this area. Now, how they do that is they take US business census data along with the location of this business, and they wrap that all together with a little bit of an algorithm, what the rates are, what the average utility cost is, what the average office equipment would cost in that region of the country. They roll it into a program, and then you get it here. Is this exact? Absolutely not exact. It is a range, it is estimated, but it is good to know. We also have some business size history. We're going to go into business history in a moment. It was actually one of the reasons why we decided to have this program, because someone asked about it. I think Elizabeth mentioned it, and it's a great feature. We're going to show you the history in just a moment, but that's listed here on the record. So this is what a record looks like, okay? I'm glad right up front we went through it, because now moving forward, we're going to see how to actually do searches using the advanced search. And whatever searches we download from now on, we're going to download in an Excel spreadsheet. Any questions before I move on to advanced search?
Yeah, we do have a question from Kathleen, is asking if you can look up professional organizers in Suffolk County. But Kathleen, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by professional organizers.
Yes, so I mean, this is what it comes down to. It's very important that your businesses that you're looking for, in order for us to search for the business, in order for you to search for the business, it does come in handy if that business is classified in the system, if it's got an SIC code or a NAICS code. So if the business type is not classified that way, there are other ways of finding businesses like that, but it's a little more difficult, it's a little more challenging. So Elizabeth, if we can, if you do get the clarification on that, maybe we can do that for a search as the demonstration. But yes.
Sorry, Roberta is also asking us, what if I don't have Excel?
Good news. When you download the records, they're going to be in CSV format, so you'll be able to use Google Sheets, which is readily available online. It's a Google app. Hey, what a great segue. Here's a little plug here. Next Friday morning, we're going to talk about Google Sheets. So if you want to come down next Friday morning, we'll tell you about that. But Google Sheets, any of the open source open source spreadsheets. If you have a Mac, you can use their spreadsheet system. So it's a CSV file. It's you'll be able to open that up. You do not have to have Microsoft Excel to open up that file. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Sal, we have updates with Kathleen saying that when she says professional organizer, she's looking for home decluttering. My suggestion would be to find company, like I would assume, Kathleen, that you know who some of your competitors are. So if
Yeah.
you look up what they're categorized as, and you can go from there. But I'll let Sal take that over.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna see if there's a company in the database with the word decluttering in it. So I just did a national search, and so I found two. One is actually in Mastic Beach, interestingly enough. So I'm going to choose that one and see how it's. Yes, so there you go. So there is a SIC code. Good news. There is an SIC code. It is Organizing Services, Household, and Business. And you can see here now what we're talking about when it comes to the industry profiles, because there are two very different classifications here. The SIC code here is Organizing Services, Household, and Business. Sounds like what we're looking for here. But the NAICS code is Interior Design Services. Probably not quite what you were looking for. But again, this is the reason why the SIC codes were not replaced by NAICS. So, so there you go. So now that we have this, and I'm going to write this number down, now that we have this, we will be able to do a search for these types of businesses, and we'll do it for the United States. You might as well, right? How's that sound? So I'm just going to write this down, 389-36. You know what's interesting is that ReferenceUSA does not allow you to highlight SIC codes and hit copy, like edit copy. And the reason being is that they don't want you to be able to copy the record and paste it somewhere else. It's kind of it's a security feature. So you're not scrubbing databases without having to actually download the record. So pretty interesting,
Sal,
I think. Yes, Alex.
Sorry to interrupt.
No interruptions, great.
Roberta asks, are nonprofits listed in here as well?
Yes, they are. So great question. All businesses that have been entered into the database by ReferenceUSA, obviously, are going to be in the database. That is usually how it works. This is how ReferenceUSA gets their data. So when a business goes into, when the business is formed, they usually go to the county clerk's office. If they're a local county, they fill out some forms, and they start the process of becoming official. Some businesses have DBAs, doing business as, and so on and so forth. ReferenceUSA accesses those records, and at that point, it's a starting point for where they can start the record. So you start a business, you go to the Suffolk County or the Nassau County Clerk's office, you incorporate, you register. ReferenceUSA gets a little notification from the system that they use, and then they start the record. At that point, they start to enter information based on what was provided to the county clerk's office, so probably primary name, address, telephone number. They also look and browse at Yellow Pages and the Yellow Page directories. Those end up being online now. So they go through those, and then they actually canvass. They will call folks up. They will ask them questions. They will say, hi, I'm Bob from ReferenceUSA. You know, it's very prestigious to be in our database. It's very good to be in our database. If you want to do business with people, they're going to want to see you in our database. So can I ask you a few questions? And they build the record that way. They'll ask the business owner, how much money do you make? How many employees you have? So on and so forth. Mostly private companies, mid-size private companies, those types of companies, that is the process. That is how they're adding the database, the business to the database. Public companies is a no-brainer for ReferenceUSA. Public companies have to file with the SEC. Those companies' records are available to the public. If you're looking up Walt Disney Company, Comcast, you know, 1-800-Flowers, all those big companies, the data in Reference USA is perfect. It's great because that information is constantly updated and it's completely transparent. So what does this mean? This means that when you're looking at data in Reference USA, and yes, non-for-profits will be in here, as long as they're registered as a legitimate business, they will be in here probably. Let's say 95% of the time, they will be in here. Just keep in mind that with those private companies, we're kind of at the mercy of the honesty of the person on the other end of the phone. So if a person is canvassed by Reference USA and that business says, yeah, I make $3 million a year, Reference USA will do some due diligence. They will go back in. They will look at where that company is, see if that's possible for a donut shop on the corner of, you know, Main Street and 2nd Avenue to make $3 million a year. And if it's not, they will adjust that accordingly. They do, like I said, they do have that algorithm, so they will adjust that accordingly. So that's how the data comes into play. Any other questions before I continue? All right.
Good to go.
All right, thanks, Alex. Let's do an advanced search. So this is, I clicked on the advanced search tab. We're gonna look for a company now. You'll see a little bit of real estate here on the left-hand side of our screen. We have all the criteria selections. This is everything that's available that we can search on. The center of the screen is where we're gonna enter that criteria. And the right-hand side is where we're gonna see a running count. We're gonna be able to update our count. We're gonna be able to click through and view results. So we have an SIC code. Let's take a look. So why don't we start with, we'll start with New York State. So let's look for these types of businesses in New York State. So I'm gonna go to geography. I'm gonna click on city state. And you'll see the city state box pops up here. We can either scroll down and just select New York, or I can start to type here and start to type New York, you know, and hit go. Of course, some cities will show up here as well. In this case, you'll see it says New York, and you see state is listed there. So we have that. So we're starting with New York. Let's type in our business type. We're going to put a check mark here for keyword SIC NAICS. You remember I mentioned before, Miller Business Center team members, we all know the SIC codes by heart. You don't have to. You can come here and you can type in a keyword. I could type in declutter here. I could type in home organizing here. Organizing, and click on search and see what comes up. You could see home organizing consultants comes up. That is actually the SIC code that we were searching for, 7389-36, shows up here, 738936. So I am going to, for the purposes of this demonstration, I am going to click on this radio button here for search primary SIC only. I just want to search for the companies that are primarily classified as home organizing. I'm going to click on that and it will show up here. So that's what I'm going to do right now because I'm curious. I'm going to click on update count. Okay, very good. So there's 68 companies that are primarily classified in the Reference USA database as home organizing consultants. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for now, and then I'll come back and we'll do some other searches. So I'm going to click on view results. And you can see here, the screen shows you there are 68 results here. You can see they're listed here. I can click on each individual record, or I can download those records. I'm going to download those records right now and open them up in what I use for my spreadsheets, which is Microsoft Excel. Again, don't have to use Excel, but we're gonna do that now. So, Reference USA is not gonna make this incredibly easy for us because, you know, they're in business to make money too. Now at the Miller Center, you can download up to 1,000 records at a time. In this case, we need to select each page and each record on each page. There's 25 per page. And in this case, you could see we have 3 pages, 68 results. Now, I want to mention something right up front here. You'll see here, it does say that there are 8 with email addresses, and there's a button here for more info. We do not have access to those email addresses. If you were to click on that, ReferenceUSA will sell you, quote unquote, sell you access to those email addresses. You do not get the email addresses. You get the service of ReferenceUSA to email on your behalf. There's a law, we mention this all the time, it's the Canned Spam Act. It doesn't allow an unsolicited email to be received from someone. So in this case, what you'll do is you will email ReferenceUSA what you'd like to send to those 8 folks. ReferenceUSA is going to send that email on your behalf. And if the person on the other end replies, that's when you get the email. So that's them opting in to you, because they've already opted into ReferenceUSA. Now they have to opt in to you. So you're going to see that on some of these screens there. Unfortunately, we don't have access to it. And to be frank, a lot of times, especially with the businesses, you're not getting a quality email address. You're getting things like info at, site, or, webmaster at site, or something like that. So anyway, let's download these records. Now, I don't have to come through here and click all these boxes, thankfully. That would take a very long time, and we only have a half hour left. What we're going to do is we're going to click on this blue box here. It's the Select All box. We click on it, and every single record on that page is selected. We're going to move to page number 2. And we're going to select those. It's a little slow. Let's see what happens. While we are waiting, any questions, Alex or Elizabeth?
No, we are good to move forward.
Okay, great. So this seems to be stuck here for a moment. I'm going to back out, and let's just go back in. Okay, there we go. Sometimes there's hiccups. This actually brings me to a point. ReferenceUSA is a national database. Their servers can get bogged down, especially during prime time. Everyone's home right now, so there might be a lot of people doing lists on a Friday morning. So keep that in mind, that you're going to see different response times throughout the day when accessing the database. That's regardless of who you're accessing it through. If you're accessing it through, Longwood or Middle Country or wherever. So it's for anyone. Okay, so I've selected all 3 pages. I'm going to click this download button here on these action buttons here. So click on download. And this is the last step before you're going to get your list in Microsoft Excel format, or any format to open up in a spreadsheet. So we suggest you leave this to comma delimited here for step 1 all the time, regardless of whether or not you're using Excel. The reason being, when you do select Excel or tab delimited, it's going to format your fields a little differently. It kind of takes away some control. If you're doing a mail merge with this data, or if you want to manipulate it, if you keep it at comma delimited, it's completely open. All the fields line up. It's fine. So keep it at comma delimited. It's still going to open up in all your software. What we do suggest doing is, for step 2, we do suggest selecting detailed, which includes all the data. Now, for some folks, this might be overkill. Maybe you don't need to get the latitude and longitude of a business. Maybe you don't need to get the square footage. Maybe you don't need to get all the other contacts on the record. You've just gone through and clicked all those pages, 1 extra click to get all that data, and then have the full spreadsheet accessible to you. We highly recommend that. We recommend that you select detailed. Also, I find, and I'm sure my colleagues can agree, is that when you click on detailed and you're browsing that that file, kind of gives you some ideas. Like you see, oh, you know what? Next time I could search on an expense, or next time I can search on square footage, or next time I can search on a credit rating or whatnot. So we recommend that you click on detailed there. And what you're going to do is you're going to click on the download records blue button here, or alternatively, you can click on the emailed records button there. So let's take a look at what that looks like. If you just bear with me one moment, I am going to open it up and share my screen. And let's go to Excel. All right, so here is Microsoft Excel. Here is the file. This is what it looks like. Yes, it could be a little daunting at first. It's a little bit too much, but and look, I'm going to be the first to tell you, it really does come in handy if you have Excel skills or sheet skills or whatever spreadsheet program you're using to view this data. Really will come in handy to know what you're doing here. We do have Excel programs at the Miller Center. We'll have another one coming up, but in the meantime, I highly recommend perhaps using one of our other resources, which is lynda.com. You can access that from home as well and take some of those Excel courses, really get familiarized with some of the quick features here, make your life a lot easier when you're going through these lists and downloading these lists. But you could see what they look like. You would have to scroll to the right to see the entire list, the entire record, excuse me. And there are going to be blank spots just because they need to have sections. They need to have columns for every single available metric or piece of data. So not every single company is going to have that. But you can see location size, revenue, if it's private, is it public, is a single location. In some cases, what credit cards they accept, when it was last updated, how many years it's been in the database, so on and so forth. So you kind of get the idea here how it works. And towards the back end, towards the end of this record, is where you're going to see those expenses that we showed you before on the screen view. So a lot of good stuff here. Great. Any questions so far? This was a business download.
No questions so far.
Okay, very good. We are going to move on. I would like to show you the map-based search very quickly. I'm going to come here and click Clear Search. And this was a feature we mentioned really quick on our last Business Bites, but the map-based search really comes in handy when you want to find companies in a building, or if you want to find companies in an industrial park, or if you want to search for consumers inside a neighborhood. The map-based search it's a really great feature. So we're starting from scratch here. We have the advanced search. We're going to go to geography. We're going to click on map-based search. This box pops up. We're going to click on open map. The map should look familiar to you. It is a Google map. Hopefully it's working. No, something is not working with Google Maps today. That is a shame. I am going to see if it has something to do with my browser. Okay, bear with me one moment, folks, because I would love for you to see this. And if not,
I'm gonna test it out on the Miller account.
Okay, we're gonna have Elizabeth test that out on the Miller account. In the meantime, we're gonna skip forward. I'm gonna go back to the main page here. I'm gonna show you the US Historical Businesses database. This is, again, it's part of ReferenceUSA. It really comes in handy when you're looking for the history of a company, perhaps to see how much money they made, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You could see ownership changes. perhaps they moved their location. They were in one location, now they're in another location. That data is all kept together and it's all inside the US Historical Business Database. Now you can come here to this first quick search, just like all the other quick searches, and you can type a company name in here. You can click on the Advanced Search tab. It's going to look similar to where we were before. And you can enter different criteria for a business and specifically pick the time frame, which is something that, that this part of the database allows you to do. You can even click on this tab, which is Compare Businesses. This is a very simple comparison. And one of the examples that I want to do here for you is, like, if I pick Disney and California headquarters, do a search. So there's Disney and click on Select, and then pick Comcast, which is arguably one of their biggest competitors. Pick that there, click Select. Now you have your selected businesses here. You can click on Compare and then see a sales volume comparison for the two companies. This goes up to 2019. You can also click on employee size and see that as well. It's just a really cool feature to visualize, if you wish, two different companies. But really what most people are going to use is the advanced search here, or the quick search. Now, I am going to go to advanced search because I thought about a company that I think would make this this demonstration worthwhile here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick on the time frame. I'm going to pick all the time frame that's available here. So we're going to go from 1997 up to 2018, which is the historical part of this database. And I'm going to pick street address. And I looked up a company that I know for a fact has changed over the years. So that company is located at 1111 Stewart Avenue. So I'm going to type in Stewart Avenue, and they are in Bethpage. So I'm going to hit city, state, and type Bethpage. Hey, does anybody in the chat know who might be at that address before I hit the button?
Let's see.
Yeah, let me know. Does anybody want to guess
answer.
who might be at 1111 Stewart Avenue in Bethpage? So this is a big Long Island company that's recently had a change.
Kathleen Maz is the first to respond. Should I? Grumman's.
Well, yeah, okay, very good. Grumman was there. Anybody else? That's good. You win the award today. To wave. Hello. Grumman is there at 111. I was thinking actually Cablevision used to be called Cablevision. Now they're
Patty Sullivan chimed in with Cablevision right before you said it. So
so great. So we're gonna take a look at that. So I hit view results, and you can see here, yes, Cablevision was here, as well as the new owner, which is Altice. I think that's how you pronounce it. You can click on the individual company to see that history there, or pick Cablevision. And there's Cablevision, but I want to see here. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. So when you use this down arrow here, we can open these up and we can see the different names that happened with these companies. Like this one is you could see, so 1997 it was Cablevision all the way up to 2015, and then it was Altice. You can kind of do this here. Cablevision of Newark became Altice. Altice USA, then they did Altice USA Incorporated. So you kind of get the idea when you open these up, how you can see name changes at a single location really does come in handy. So it was Optimum for Business. Here's a good one. It was called Optimum for Business all the way up to 2017, changed their name to Altice Business USA. You click on the record, like I showed you before, you will get the management directory throughout the years. You'll get the sales volume throughout the years. Really does come in handy. You can also jump around here too. If I click back on this timeline, I think it only went to 2015 in that respect. Let's go back here. You can see James Dolan, Charles Dolan. You could see who the CEO was of a particular company. So pick a company, come into the US historical database, and you could see that company's sales history, executive history, and employee size will be here, as well as their name. And again, comes in handy when you're dealing with locations. You will see them move location as well. So I did a search on an address. If I typed in the company name here, I would see if they moved to different locations as well. So you'll have their old address and their new address. Any questions?
Not currently.
Sal, I just want to throw in how I use this, and I thought it was great when I was doing some research for an upcoming podcast that we are going to do about the coffee industry. I was able to search from 1997 till now to see how many more coffee shops there are, how that changed. You can see how much their revenue has gone up and down. So it's very interesting from that perspective as well.
Yeah, it is great, and it's Elizabeth, it's a fairly new feature, right? I mean, how long has it been? How long has it been? Like 4 years, 3 years?
Yeah, it's pretty recent, and they are adding more and more years. It's very labor intensive, so they're doing that slowly. I believe when they first started, it was only like 5 years, and now it's from 97 to present, correct? Or 2011?
Yes. Yeah, no, it does go up to some businesses will go up to 2018. So yeah, it will go up, but yeah, definitely check that out, and that's a great use for it. Like Elizabeth said, how she was looking up that data. So I am going to switch my screen to here. Can everybody see that map, Alex and Elizabeth?
Yes, we can.
All right, so we have map-based search up and running. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your help on that. And we are going to zoom into Long Island. I am just going to, so up here in the corner, you can zoom in to a zip code, and we're going to also use this feature here to select our area, where we can draw a shape, define a radius, do boundaries, select drive route. So I'm going to click on go, brings us to our home turf here.
Sal, would you agree that this is your favorite part of ReferenceUSA?
This is my favorite part of ReferenceUSA, absolutely.
It absolutely, I know you use it a lot, and it has actually helped me get more used to it because you love it so much. So
yeah, definitely. And you know, I think we mentioned last time, the last webinar we had, we used to have to actually pull out the big, the big atlases, make copies of those pages, and then draw with highlighters to get different sections, and actually manually have to type in the addresses and the street addresses to get the businesses in certain areas. Now we can do it all using this feature. So we are in, like I said, in our neighborhood, the Middle Country neighborhood. I clicked on hybrid because I just wanted to show you how easy it is to see industrial areas and commercial buildings from space. Really does come in handy. For example, if I were to come into this section here, let me just use this here. You could see It's very easy to see like Smith Haven Mall from space. It's very easy to see the Hauppauge Innovation Park down over here. I think you could see Heartland pretty well. That's down over here, I believe. So let's say I want to search for businesses in an industrial park. I'm going to pick this industrial park here. It's real simple. You're just going to click on Draw Shape, and you're going to create a polygon. You're going to click, drag, click, drag. You kind of get the idea here. And then when you're done clicking, you'll double click, and that will then select all the businesses inside that industrial park. If I click out of there and click on View Results, this is the listing of all those companies in Edgewood. Now, we do not have to just do it. We don't have to stop there. We can go even deeper. We can just search for specific types of companies inside that box that we've created. So we can come here and say, well, you know what? I'm going to do business size. I want to choose employees, 10 or more employees. Oops, let me click that, use this down, yep. And now you'll see that number goes down to 62. So now we're doing bigger companies inside there. We can go even further to say, you know what? I just want to talk to headquarters or branches inside that box. Now we're down to 47. Why are we, I'm sorry, headquarters and single locations. Why do we want to talk to the branch? We don't. We want to talk to the head person there. And then finally, I could say, I just want to talk to the human resource managers in the database in that box. So I can come here to click on, here where it says executives, I can click on executive title and then do a search for human resources and click these two titles, click on that. Now you're gonna see this is gonna bring that list down really, really quickly. Now we're down to 4. I mean, now that doesn't mean that those other 62 companies, 100, the other hundreds of companies, they don't have human resource managers or human resource executives. It just means that they're not included in the record. So I can click here now, view results, and these are the 4 companies that make over, excuse me, the 4 companies that have over 10 employees in that park, the industrial park, that have the human resource manager on the record for me to contact them.
Sal, we have a question.
Yes.
Can you search for businesses that sell products?
Need that to be a little more specific. We can search for businesses that, you know, wholesale specific types of products, most definitely. But if you're looking for a specific product, yeah, I mean, you can search for them using that SIC code search. So for example, let me clear this up. And let's go to keyword. So I'm going to do search primary SIC, and I'll just choose plastic here and see what comes up. So, you know, this company here is a wholesale, so they're not a manufacturer, but they wholesale plastic bags. So yes, so if that's what you mean, yes, absolutely. We can't get too deep into, like, I won't be able to tell you if a gift shop in your neighborhood sells Lennox figurines, that kind of thing. I can't do that. But I can tell you if the wholesalers, in this case, you know, like major companies, that's what they sell in bulk, or that's what they sell primarily, we could do that for you. I hope that answers the question. Okay, so in this case, I picked plastic bags. Let's do a county search in this case. Let's see if there's, yes, Alex.
He said yes, thank you, that helped.
Great, awesome. I'm going to see if there's any companies on Long Island that wholesale plastic bags. You know, it's interesting, before this whole coronavirus thing, you know, plastic bags were disappearing, and now it seems they're coming back because people want to throw out the bags. Unfortunately, we're kind of like stuck in there. So, so there you go. You have 3 companies on Long Island Again, these were wholesalers of plastic bags. Just out of curiosity, let's see who they are. And it's KPI, Polycrest, and Shanghai Renheng USA in Hicksville, Hauppauge, and Farmingdale. So yes, so you can see, as long as they're wholesalers, as long as we search, we understand the limitations that we have when we do a search, an SIC search, then yes, we can find them. Not going to be able to find very specific information inside a company like Macy's. Does Macy's sell this product? We won't be able to do that necessarily, but we can tell you if it's a big company that's selling that as a wholesaler, absolutely we can do that. All righty, so we're almost out of time. I do want to show you a couple more things before we wrap this up today. Okay, I mentioned jobs before. I do want to show you really quickly this part of the database, because if you are looking for a job, or if you know someone looking for a job, and this will take, I promise you, it'll only take a couple minutes. It's a great way to search for a job, because, you know, since we're in the ReferenceUSA database, we can search for jobs and not only apply for those jobs or find a job available there, but we can also get information about the company. And it's a little more than just going to like monster.com or CareerBuilder or one of these job sites and filling out an application. You're kind of educating yourself as the applicant on what the business does, how many employees they have, how much money they make. So for example, if I come here for the job title, keyword, or company name,
hey,
I could do a bit. Yes.
Could you do, wait, are we doing job opportunities? Yes,
yes.
Job opportunities for mechanical engineers in New York, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Let's do, I'm actually going to go to the advanced search for that. So I'm going to say find jobs with all these words. So mechanical engineer, see, I just started typing and it showed up here. Mechanical engineer, we'll do full-time, and we will do, let's do within 25 miles of, do you want to do New York City, Alex? New York?
Kathleen just put in NY.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to do New York just to start, and I'm going to expand this to 50 miles. How about that? And we'll do that within the last. Yes.
NYC, she clarified. NYC.
Awesome. So I'm going to do 50 miles within NYC just for the purposes of this demonstration. Click on View Results. And there you go. These are posted. There's one actually right on top here that was posted. Looks like we're recording this on May 1st. It looks like today. From U.S. General Services Administration. Click on the job title. You could see the salary, the summary, the responsibilities. This is the actual application on Indeed. So you can come here. Yeah, I clicked on it. You can come here and go straight in to Indeed. Now, this though is where ReferenceUSA search, job search comes in handy, because I see the job title here, but you see where company name is, it's highlighted. That means I can click on that record and read the ReferenceUSA record. I'm gonna pick this one, we'll pick this top one here. And there it is. I can see it's a government office. In this particular location that I picked, there's 9 employees. It's been in the database for 24 years. You kind of get the idea. Now, if I go back to where I was before, I'll pick one of these other locations. Maybe we can get a little more information. This location's got 17 employees. Here's the management directory. I can see who the manager is. Anyway, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Besides finding jobs, I'm researching the company. Now, I happen to pick a federal organization. I'm going to come down here a little farther here. Let's see, engineering. There's an internship here, electrical engineer. This company here, click on that. Oops, that did not pick. Let's pick Phillips Club, see if that comes through. There we go. So they're looking for a chief engineer. So they're not looking for a mechanical engineer, but kind of get the idea, get the industry profile, the business profile, what the company does, how many employees they have, how much money they make, what their hours are, their expenses as well. It's basically the record we saw before. So it's as if we were looking for businesses, but now we can apply to this company and we're going in there with a little more information. So the job search really is nice. And again, you could see it's connected to Indeed. That's where ReferenceUSA gets their job postings from. So it's very seamless. I can come here, click on, in this case, I can click on the Chief Engineer Maintenance, and I could fill out the application, upload the resume right from here using the ReferenceUSA database. So I'll show you one more thing since we're almost out of time. I do want to show you the U.S. Consumers Lifestyle Database, or as I like to call it, the creepy database, because it's got so much information about us, the consumers here. So we come here, we click on Advanced Search. This is now great when you perhaps have a product or service you want to target consumers who would be interested in your product and service. And not only that, we can add an extra criteria of consumers who want your product or service, who might be interested in your product or service, that make a certain amount of money in a certain location. So in this case, the database search looks very similar to the business search. We just have some different selections here. Now, I do want to mention, because some of you might notice here, this consumer snapshot. These are demographics only. This will give you demographics for a particular area, but it will not give you those particular names. So I want to mention that. The lifestyles, however, will do that for you. So I will put a check mark in lifestyles, and I will put a check mark in zip codes, because we can search on zip codes as well. I want to make sure for contacts per household that we have only one per household, because you might have the husband, the wife, and the kid. They're all on the record, and they're all interested in something. You don't want to send 3 separate postcards. You want to just send the one postcard to the house with your coupon, for example. So let's do it that way. So we say 1 per household. Let's pick a zip code here. I'll pick Selden 11784. And let's look for folks. I'm going to hit also select estimated household income. Folks who make more than, let's say, $200,000 a year. So I selected all that. And let's say folks who are interested in crochet and knitting and needlepoint sewing. We'll do this grouping here. Okay. I hit update count, and 2. There's only 2 in Selden. Wow, that's a target audience. How about that? So I will click on these 2 people, and hopefully they're not sitting in the chat room right now. We're going to find out who they are. But yes, so we have Mr. Cole and Mr. Sedlak. You can see we have their address. Do you want to mention this? Because a lot of folks are going to ask, hey, can I call these people? You shouldn't. The telephone numbers are not cross-referenced with do not call. So listen, there is a separate process, a separate procedure that you could take. If you want to call these people, you would have to sign up for an account with the Federal Trade Commission, a telemarketer account. You'll have to type in Mr. Cole's name into that database. I mean, his telephone number is not here anyway, but you would have to type in the number in the database and cross-reference it to see if they are on the do not call list or not. If they're not, you can call. If they are, you definitely do not want to call. You don't want to get that. I think it's like up to $1,000 per call to call those people. To be frank, what most people are going to use this database for is to send out a mailer. So, you know, look, mail is not inexpensive. You know, it's for a postcard. I don't know what it is now, but it's not expensive. Excuse me, it's not inexpensive. So what's nice about this database, though, is that you're not just sending out a mass mailer without knowing who you're sending it to. So you're sending it to folks in this neighborhood who make over $200,000 a year. Let me expand this a little bit down to 100,000, and we should get, see, we have a lot more now. We have 125, and you can kind of get the idea here on how this works. There are a number of different lifestyles we have available to you. I'm just going to expand these all just so you get the idea. I mean, there's a ton of stuff here. Now, another question that folks ask is, you know, I want to target people who have children. Now, we don't have that metric. We can't necessarily target a household that has kids. A lot of that information is private. What we can do, though, is we can target folks who buy child and family products, or folks who buy senior-oriented products. So we can't tell you if this household has folks in it who have, you know, senior citizens. You know, maybe your product or service is for folks with 60 or over, for example. But we can find people who most likely are by selecting the senior-oriented products button, or folks who might have kids or grandkids. We can choose the child family products. So there are roundabout ways of finding those addresses in this database. And those are some tips in this database on how you could do that. So select the product purchase behavior to find those folks. So I think we're just about out of time. I will open it up to questions for anybody who has questions before we go.
Sal,
yes.
Patty's asking, she said, this was great as usual. Love the map going to try playing around with it. She just wants to know if all she has to do is log in with her Miller business card. And she said,
oops, I think we lost you, Alex.
She's asking about if it's expired or not, but Patty, we can definitely update it if it is expired.
I'm not sure if it expired. Does that matter?
Yes, we'll, yeah, no problem. Patty, definitely reach out to us, send us an email, millercenter@mcplibrary.org. And anyone who's watching now or listening, millercenter@mcplibrary.org is probably the best way to reach us, because we all get those emails. Send that to us. We will look you up, give us your barcode, and as long as the library is closed because of the pandemic, we are offering remote extensions of your card, and for a temporary period until we reopen. So we'll take care of that for you. Any other questions? All right. Well, that does it for another webinar. Just would like to thank you all for coming down. I'd like to thank Alex Blend and Elizabeth Maffey for their assistance this morning.
And if you have, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, again, millercenter@mcplibrary.org. If you want to watch this webinar or older webinars, go visit our YouTube page. That's youtube.com/Miller Business Center. And you can see those, as well as we have a lot of how-to videos, sort of tours of our other databases, how to use the map-based search in ReferenceUSA. There is a couple of ReferenceUSA tips and tricks videos on there. So it's, again, our YouTube page, or you can go to millerbusinesscenter.org/TV to see a listing of those as well. So again, I'm Sal DiVincenzo. I thank you so much for coming down and watching us this morning, and I hope you have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you next week for our Google Apps 101, that same time next week here on Zoom. So thank you so much.